1, Alabama, white thing. The white thing, which has been sighted roving the counties of Morgan, Etiah, and Jefferson since the 1940s, may simply be an albino bear. According to cynics, more sympathetic cynics find solace in the possibility that he might simply be an albino Bigfoot. According to reports, the white thing is an 8-foot-tall being with thick white hair. Others describe a white lion with flashing red eyes that looks like a kangaroo with a cat's head and is covered in white fur. 2, Alaska, Tizorak. Caddy the Tizorak, known as the Loch Ness Monster of Alaska, reappeared in 2009, as seen in shaky video footage captured by a fisherman who, by all accounts, was fortunate not to have been dragged from the deck by a notoriously sassy sea monster. Witness accounts of Tizorak speak about a 15-foot-long, flipper-equipped huge sea snake. People have reportedly been abducted by the marine creature off of piers and docks. 3, Arizona, Mogollon Monster. It is said that this hirsute bogeyman is a Bigfoot-like creature whose presence can be linked to Native American myths. Others claim he is the man who stole the bride of another chief and was punished by the local medicine man by being transformed. Some claim he is an exiled chief. The Mogollon Monster is described as being bipedal and having long, reddish brown or black hair all over him, with the exception of his face, hands, feet, and chest. The beast is around 7 feet tall, has enormous red eyes, and emits a horrible stench. 4, Arkansas, Fouke Monster. 2 documentaries on the Fouke Monster were made after the filmmakers traveled to the region to look into the reports of a large, hairy beast. Both groups were fortunate to return from the trip unscathed and, regrettably, without any proof. The beast is described by many who have seen it as a big, red-eyed creature with long, dark hair. Some claim it is about 7 feet tall, while others claim it is 10 feet. It has monkey-like arms, wings, and has a skunky dog scent mixed together. 5, California, Dark Watchers. Even the long-extinct Chumash people who live on California's central coast call the Dark Watchers the Old Ones. In a more recent work, John Steinbeck wrote of the mysterious figures. No one knew who the observers were or where they lived, but it was better to ignore them and never display interest in them. These alleged Dark Watchers have never been heard from, seen, or had their identities exposed. Witnesses describe 15-foot tall, shadowy beings that stalk the dusk skies while frequently sporting flowing cloaks, wide-brimmed hats, or toting walking sticks. 6, Colorado, Slide Rock Boulder. The mining community of Rico was destroyed by a dynamite-filled dummy left as bait for this vicious mountain whale. It also appears to have killed the monster, as it hasn't been seen since a surge of reports a century ago. The Slide Rock Boulder is described by eyewitnesses as a big, whale-like monster with an enormous head, small eyes, and a large jaws. There are enormous gripping hooks at the end of its flaring tail. 7, Connecticut, Melon Heads. When traveling through Fairfield County, motorists frequently press the gas pedal. Nobody wants to take the chance of staying with the inbred cannibal offspring of escaped asylum inmates, do they? Tiny beings with enormous heads are reportedly hiding in the woods, according to those who have had the misfortune to run into them. They tend to bite people who dare enter their territory. They have bulging eyes and weary limbs. Hey, Delaware, Salvador Swamp Monster. In the 1960s, an actor by the name of Fred Stevens dressed up as this hairy creature to frighten onlookers while driving, ostensibly to generate a juicy ongoing story for a buddy who worked as a newspaper editor. But there are plenty of reasons to be on the lookout, including reports of the beast decades after Stevens' fraud and even earlier. The monster has been described in a variety of ways. In some reports, it is described as a hairy bipedal creature, while in others, it is described as a ghostly apparition. 9, Florida, Skunk Ape. Despite digital camera footage of Florida's Bigfoot-like creature that resembles the Blair Witch, scientists are still skeptical about its existence. But even so, it has a 2.2 million acre swamp to travel through, giving it plenty of freedom to elude curious sleuths. The skunk ape is described in fearful sightings as a big, hairy, skunk-smelling creature that runs upright onto legs. 10, Georgia, Altamaha. Native Americans have known about the existence of this stream dweller for centuries. It swims like a dolphin, but has a crocodile snout and large bug eyes. Altamaha is a mysterious green cryptid that is said to be 20 to 30 feet long, with a body shaped like a sturgeon and a bony ridge on top. Large, jutting eyes and teeth are supposed to be present. 11, Hawaii. Menhound. The Menhound are said to be Hawaii's own ancient aliens, appearing only at night to construct roads, dams, and temples. Human eyes have not frequently witnessed the Menhound. Rare stories mention beings that are roughly 2 feet tall. However, other witnesses claim to have seen them as small as 6 inches. They are so little that your hand's palm could contain them. 12. Idaho. Charlie. The 20th century was dotted with reports of sightings of a dinosaur-like creature. The local native people have long harbored fears of an evil spirit residing deep within Big Payette Lake after holding a contest to come up with a better moniker for their local superstar. The McCall Star News changed the name from Slimy Slim, which was given to the monster by the national media. Charlie was initially pictured by onlookers as a large log drifting in the lake. Later reports claimed a 35-foot-long creature with a dinosaur-like head, a prominent jaw, camel-like humps, and a shell-like appearance. 13. Illinois. The Enfield Horror. Depending on who you ask, this hissing tripod, which can leap at least 25 feet in a single bound, is either a malevolent ghost or an alien. However, the local sheriff asked one eyewitness to stop sharing his story because it was luring beer-swilling monster hunters who were intending to fire a few shots at the thing into the neighborhood. A 4.5-foot-tall, 3-legged monster with 2 pink eyes the size of spotlights is described as the Enfield Horror. It has been observed leaving 6-toed dog-like tracks while hopping around like a kangaroo. 14. Indiana. Beast of Fusco. In the late 1940s, thousands of people traveled to Churubusco, Indiana, to see the attempted capture of this Volkswagen-sized lake monster. Busco-mania gripped the community for weeks, and in their ultimately futile attempts to catch the monster, hunters even released a seductive lady turtle into the lake. How does the Beast of Busco appear? Though, in essence, it's a huge snapping turtle. 15. Iowa. Van Meter monster. After the neighborhood's resident man-shaped bat retreated into a mine shaft, a reporter for the Des Moines Daily News said the noise opened up anew, as though Satan and a regiment of imps were coming forth for fight. The Van Meter monster and his imps, thankfully, must have just been departing because they haven't been seen since. Several residents have described the Van Meter monster as a human-shaped creature with enormous bat wings. A horn that shone like a searchlight is reported to have been on the monster's head. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Making such a video requires a lot of time and energy, so help this channel grow by your like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. 16. Kansas. Sinkhole Sam. Sinkhole Sam, Kansas' watery equivalent of the Star Wars Exorata, has a rather simple explanation. According to the legend, it's just a Fuppengecker. Whatever that is. Locals have conjectured that the eel-like monster had been dwelling in a prehistoric underground cavern that was flooded with water from a sinkhole. The beast was finally able to flee thanks to the flooding. Fishermen claim to have seen a 15-foot object with a tire-like shape. 17. Kentucky. The Kelly Little Green Men Hopkinsville Goblins. The miniature silvery green men who terrorized the occupants of the Sutton farmhouse in Kelly on a UFO-filled August night in 1955 were later attributed to space goblins. If the sound of these little aliens isn't enough to intimidate you, remember that bullets bounce off them like metal. The phrase Little Green Men was not used in the initial accounts on the encounter. The national media later added that shade. They were reported as silver with a greenish-silver light in the early reports. 18. Lieutenant Rogar Lukaru. This Cajun critter has a number of origin tales in mythology. Although you are a werewolf in name only, shapeshift is apparently involved. Depending on the variant of the curse or genetic defect you have, you could wind up as a human wolf, human otter, or were cow. The most common way that Rogaru is described is as having a human body and a wolf head. There are reports that it has razor-sharp fangs and flashing red eyes. 19. Maine Spectre Moose, as evidenced by the local monster. A beautiful though gigantic cloud-colored moose. People up in Maine are generally kind. 14. Tenwood Embrace. The creature has been characterized as a huge, ghostly white moose that stands between 10 and 15 feet tall and has intimidating antlers. It is claimed to have a faint glimmer and the ability to emerge or vanish at will. 20. Maryland Chessie. The Chesapeake Bay's own hazy, camera-shy sea monster is called Chessie, pronounced similarly to Nessie. It might be an orfish or an alien. In any case, Archie has become very reserved since 1980's film footage first surfaced, presumably as a result of the local seafood population being decimated by overfishing. Jessie is described as a flippered serpent-like creature in sightings. It is supposed to be 25-40 feet long and moves through the water like a snake. 21. Massachusetts Dover Demon. It is very obvious that the Dover Demon is either an alien or an escaped scientific experiment given its figure-8-shaped melon head and its capacity to merge with rocks. One of the few imaginary beings to have an eye makeup color named after it. According to legend, the Dover Demon had rosy orange skin, a huge head, and a short, stick-like body. It frequently moves about on all fours and has glistening eyes. 22. Michigan. The Michigan Dogman. When two lumberjacks pursued a dog into a corner and poked it with a stick in 1887, the dog suddenly sprang up on its hind legs and revealed that it was actually a type of man-dog, or dogman, if you prefer. The dogman, like all good boys, was completely tranquil, but the woodsman fled in horror nonetheless. They described the creature, which came to be known as the Michigan Dogman, as a 7-foot-tall, blue-eyed canine-like creature with a man's body and a terrifying how that resembles a human scream. 23. Minnesota Wendigo. Step back from the screen. Now the Wendigo is not only a human eater, perhaps having been cursed into its monster condition for having engaged in cannibalism while still seeming reasonably normal, but even a glance at this creature can result in death. Wendigo is characterized as being emaciated to the point of being gaunt, with its skin tightly drawn over its jutting bones. It has an unsettling ash-gray color and an unpleasant odor of rotting. 24. Mississippi Pascagoula River Aliens. The bright egg-shaped spaceship carrying carrot-headed aliens that stopped by a couple of night fishermen on the Pascagoula River may have simply been the witnesses' hunger acting up. They might have been robots, or they might not have been. Either way, they haven't come back, having evidently been pleased with the tests they ran on the two absolutely sober males. The fishermen claimed to have seen a luminous object floating above the earth and heard a zipping sound. Then 3 slightly over 5-foot-tall robot-like creatures emerged from the craft. 25. Missouri Momo Missouri Monster. It would be simple to mistake this hairy, foul-smelling, sandwich-stealing hominid for someone's father if it weren't for his 3-toed footprint. Except for disrupting picnics, Momo seems to be very benign. According to local stories, Momo is a hairy, foul-smelling monster with 3 toes. The thing was 6-7 feet tall and appeared to have no neck. According to witnesses, a thicket of hair hid its face. Thanks for watching. See you later.